unnecessary intro song to totally waste your time.
So, I was at a public street fair type deal. Not my kind of thing. Not my cup of tea. Like Oktoberfest. Not my kind of thing. None of those things are my type of thing. I'm not into public things. Big gatherings. Ugh, I don't like them. Even farmers markets. I've pretended to like them for years, but I don't really like them. Plus, their groceries are more expensive than the store because they're grown by farmers. You know what I mean? I don't know. Anyway, I was there, and these non-gender specific people were doing some weird form of yoga / jazzercise on these gigantic chairs, you know, like these chairs that you typically have at a house, but they're oversized, like way oversized. You have to climb up onto them, you know, comical, like sculptural pieces. But they were on the cushions of these things. Quite a spectacle. It was quite humorous looking. Like as art direction goes, I thought, okay, this is good. So I take out my video camera and I start recording them. I get in close. Other people have their cameras out too. It's a public place. But I get in there close and I'm framing up the shots really well. And one of these non-gender specific people in brightly colored clothes tells me not to film them. Or at least gives me that impression with their face, you know. And as I keep filming, I go film the other one, the other non-gender specific person. And they too give me this thing. And I'm going, oh, here we go. This is the old thing. You know, as a photographer, this happens a lot these days. Especially when your equipment looks special. I had a microphone, you know, so that makes it official. If it's just your phone, no. But if you have a microphone, also, the phone is fine. The microphone is not fine. That's professional. Different qualifications. Anyway, so when this happens, I don't, depends, you know, you pick your battles, but this argument really bothers me. So I just keep continuing, and finally there's a spat. You can't use that. You can't use that. And I'm like, okay, you don't understand the law. Your existence does not come with a privacy shield around it. If you want that, you need to be invisible. But people have the right to look at you. You cannot tell somebody to avert their gaze. It doesn't matter if they have recording equipment. They can point their camera in whatever direction they want to in public. And if you happen to be in that direction, you do not have the right to put up imaginary walls and construct an imaginary building wherever you want it around you. So this whole thing happens, and I forgot to mention that while I was being friendly, I handed the microphone to one of these people, you know, because I wanted to up to the chair because it was tall. Well, I ended up taking my microphone and my cord and disappearing with it. Handed it off to another non-gender specific person who disappeared into a crowd, another meeting, you know. Well, you can imagine. I was annoyed, quite annoyed. I did my whole spiel about privacy and how they didn't have a right and blah, blah, blah. But what I really wanted back was my goddamn microphone. So I barged into the middle of this meeting and I just started throwing a temper tantrum. Big, hot-headed, where the fuck is my microphone? And I need my fucking cord. Now! You know, I really turned it up, you know. Security starts coming around. I need my fucking microphone and I need my fucking cord right now. I'm not going to leave until I get it, and this event is going to be all about me until my property is returned. As I stomped around. Eventually I found a pile of cords, and I took about 5 of them. I guess I'd been stealing cords from people all day. Then I stomped out. Much ado about nothing is what that was. Didn't need to happen. Also, that was just a dream I had last night. You see how I tricked you? Do you see what I did? That is how you're supposed to tell people about your dreams. Because if I had told you at the very, very beginning that I was about ready to tell you a dream I had, you would have gone off to Snoozeville. You would have turned it off. But, yeah, that was my dream. This has happened to me, though, for real in my life. In my waking life, I should say, because my dreams are real. Your dreams are real. Your memories are real. That conflict last night was real. I actually had it. They're real. But in waking life, the one we kind of all share together, or at least it seems like we do, more than the dream world, maybe. We don't know because we haven't tested it. But I don't want to digress into another topic. But this has happened many times in my life. I remember one time it happened in Brazil. One of the things I was doing to make my Mormon mission more palatable to me was photography. That's when I was doing street photography. I'm using air quotes because I was taking photos of people on the street. And it's the closest I ever came to that type of photographer, because typically when you say street photography, what you mean is rich people taking pictures of poor people, right? That's what it really means. It means, look at me, I got fancy equipment. I'm taking a picture of poor people. Look at this hobo. Look at this dirty child. Oh, isn't she beautiful, dirty with her homeless mom? I'm important. I'm exposing the truth. As if other people aren't walking by that scene daily and you've done some great service. Fuck you. But I was doing that kind of street photography when I was a Mormon missionary. And I remember there was this bench of old men. I still have the picture, but let me think. There was probably 6 men crammed onto a bench that was probably designed for 3 people sitting side by side. Old men. These guys were like in their 80s, right? And they just looked so perfect downtown. And so I wanted to really frame up my shot, and I couldn't be as demure as usual. So I framed it up and look, imagine there's this white Mormon missionary with short sleeve white shirt and a tie taking a picture of these scruffy old men. But one of the men started yelling what I assume was the only thing he knew in English. He was yelling, "Shut up! Shut up!" Pointing at me, "Shut up!" He didn't want me to take their picture, but he's just yelling in English, "Shut up! Shut up!" I wasn't saying anything. And then I got in an argument with my companion, my Mormon missionary companion. You shouldn't have taken that picture. It's rude. The guy obviously didn't want you to. And I go, yeah, but I have a right to record my memories. There is no right to privacy in public. If you don't want to be seen, if you don't want to be photographed, then don't go out. Or wear a ski mask when you go out. Look at all those women that are wearing burqas. Maybe they're just very beautiful people who don't want to be photographed. I could do a whole podcast on that too, by the way. Because guess what? Fuck your privacy. Okay? Privacy is interesting. Don't get me wrong. It's an interesting topic. But I'm not so sure it's a great thing. I used to think, oh no, privacy is very important. Got to keep your data secure, or your password, privacy. But I'm not. I'm thinking the only thing that privacy seems to only benefit people who are doing bad things. If everybody's house disappeared today, like all the walls just went blink, and there you are. What you'd see is, oh, everybody's masturbating. Oh, everybody's looking at porn. Oh, all the skeletons. Everybody has skeletons in their closets. And you know what would happen? The white noise of humanity would just get so loud that everybody go, fuck it. Who cares? Guess what? I'm human. You're human. Big deal. This whole idea of privacy seems to benefit people who just want to lie. They want to lie and misrepresent themselves. You know? They want to pretend that they don't touch their genitals. They want to pretend that they don't wipe their butt and sometimes get poop on their finger. You know? Not me, I'm perfect. Okay, no, you're not. Whatever you think you're keeping private, and everybody else is keeping it private too. It's just a big fucking charade. But this leads to another thing. I'm kind of going off the reservation here. What I wanted to talk about is that if something enters into my eyeballs, it becomes my property. If I see you do something, I can tell a story about it. It entered into my vision. It became part of my brain. The light waves traveled into my eyes, swirled around the back of the retina, whatever it does, did its magic thing, and somehow got stuck in my brain. Little particles. Something happened. It changed. The physiology of my brain is changed every time I experience something. Right? That's the theory, right? We don't know how things are stored in the brain. My mom just having a stroke gives us an indication that language is in a certain part of the brain because we can see a blood clot screws up that part of the brain and suddenly you can't speak very well. So there is a pretty good evidence that things get stored in the brain somehow, like a hard drive. Well, let me tell you something. Anything that's on my hard drive is mine. It's mine, goddammit. And I know that the law does not agree with me on this, but I disagree with the law. You can't put information into my brain and then tell me that I can't use it. This is where I get in big trouble with a lot of my friends on the right and left. These copyrightists, you know. I don't agree with them. I don't think you should be able to stop somebody from using information that they have in their brain. If you can read it and put it into your brain, how dare you tell me I can't use that information in my brain? And if I use tools and instruments to help me store that information, such as a pen and paper, a canvas and paint, a camera, which records light particles onto a sheet or into a microchip, if I use things to record that, to help me put it into my brain, and it doesn't weigh anything, because my weight does not change when something goes into my brain. Isn't that amazing? You'd think that if you saw a movie, and that movie goes into your brain, it would fill up your brain, and your brain would weigh something differently. But it doesn't. It's amazing. So, I can't steal something from you. This is where I really depart from Indians or whoever it was. It's always the Navajos, it seems like. But they don't like photography because it steals your soul. No, it doesn't. You still have your soul, right? If I stole your soul, you wouldn't have it anymore. You still have it. If you still have what you had before, no theft has occurred. If it doesn't weigh anything, then I can't steal it. You understand that? I didn't steal your song either. You put your song, you released it out of your mouth or out of your guitar or out of your recording device into the universe, and it floated around and it traveled into my ear, and now it's in my brain. It's not yours anymore because it's in my brain. Possession is 9/10 of the law. And you still have your song. You still have your song. If I steal your shoes, you no longer have your shoes. You have bare feet. And depending on how much you walk around with bare feet, you are uncomfortable, especially if it's snowy or you're stepping around on pine needles. That's theft. The idea of your shoe is not theft. You stole my idea. No, I didn't. You can't steal an idea. This is big controversy, especially for an artist. Big controversy. How dare you, Merkley, say that ideas aren't property? How dare you? Don't you know that copyright law is the only thing keeping people... It's the only thing keeping creators creating? If we didn't have it, creators wouldn't create. Okay, fine. Thank you. I was going to get to that. But thank you for bringing it up, other me. We can work around that. There's this thing called compulsory licensing that I like. I like that nobody can prevent you from recording their song. And I think the logic probably followed much of the way I've been talking just now. If a song exists out in the ether, you can record it, but you do have to pay the people who created it. Fair. That's fair to me. That seems fair. Well, you wrote it, so okay, fine. If I earn some money on it, if because of your song somebody starts throwing nickels at me, I can do a one for me, one for you. One for me, one for you. Look at this. People are throwing nickels at me. Ow. Take half of them. I like that. So I don't understand the details here. I'm not a lawyer. Don't fucking get on me about if I'm doing it wrong. It's not a 50-50 deal, but it should be, because that's the best deal in the world. The best partnership in the world is just straight up 50-50. Everybody feels good about a 50-50. If it's not 50-50, somebody's going to feel shitty about it. Somebody's going to go, but I did more work and it cost me money to do it. You don't understand. It took me 45 years to write that song. It's all my thing. So, how dare you? Why are you getting paid 51 cents and I'm getting paid 49? It's not right. Well, It's a 50-50 works, man. You just shut up. I wrote it. You recorded it. You're selling it 50-50. And if you record it and somebody else is out there hoofing it around to sell it, why don't you cut your half into half with them? And on down the line, they cut their half into half and they with somebody else. Whatever the distribution channels, just keep cutting that pie 50-50. So everybody around starts feeling good about that. Every time you bring on a partner, 50% of my 50%. Blah, blah, blah. Out on down the line. Simple. That's how music works. Except for when you're endorsing a product. Then it gets weird and suddenly people can block you. Suddenly Paul McCartney can go, no, I don't want my song used to sell blueberry pie. Because my song is Strawberry Fields. And I don't want it used for selling blueberry pie. He can block it. I don't think he should be able to. I think they should be able to use the Strawberry Fields song to sell blueberry pie. And he gets 50-50, right? First of all, they're probably not going to use his song if they have to pay half of what they make, half of their profits for selling their blueberry pie to Paul McCartney. They're probably not going to make that deal. But what if they did? And what if the blueberry pie was so fucking great, he would make all half of that money for them using his Strawberry Fields song? By the way, I don't know if he wrote that song. Sounds like one of his. But it could have been John's. Whoever! You know what I'm saying. Shut the fuck up. Quit arguing with me. So 50-50. Use it. You can't stop me. And that's what happens with, an iPhone or technology. Same thing. But we're Apple. We invented this. No, you didn't. You copied somebody else. You may have written the code from ground up, but you did it based on science you already learned that somebody else invented. Why do you get full copyright? Fuck you. No, you don't. You didn't invent anything from the ground up. This is where I sound like a communist. This is where I sound like Barack Obama. You didn't build that. I'm not trying to sound like that because I want everybody to be rewarded for their efforts, but not for everybody else's efforts and not endlessly, and I don't want them to be able to cop block somebody else. So you built your ideas on somebody else's ideas, but somehow you want to be able to stop somebody else from building on your idea. Fuck you. 50-50. Information. Information doesn't weigh anything. You can't block the information. The information is in my brain. It's on my recording devices. I bought this phone. The technology's in there. I can take it apart with a microphone and figure out how to use it. And you can't block me. This is not law I'm talking about. This is a suggested law. If I was the benevolent dictator, this shit would happen. I'd be, no, you can use any manufacturer that can crack your code, crack your secret recipe. By the way, I wouldn't allow secret recipes. Truth in labeling is one of the most wonderful things I think we've ever invented. I didn't invent it, but whoever invented it, good for them. Truth in labeling. Fuck your secret recipe. If I can figure it out, first of all, I wouldn't even allow you to have it in there. I don't know what poisons are in your secret recipe. Fuck your secret recipe. Just tell me what your fucking recipe is. And then once it's there, somebody else can make your secret recipe, and we'll see who markets it and distributes it best, who makes it best. There's always details. All things being considered equal, people still have preferences. I've done this a million times. You can take one whiskey, put it into 2 glasses, tell people it's a different one, ask them which one they prefer, and they will have a preference. Almost nobody will say, these 2 tasted identical to me. Because presentation is everything. Art means something. Bottles mean something. Presentation means something. And if everybody's getting paid, then who the fuck cares? They stole my bottle design. So what? They didn't steal it. You're getting paid 50-50. Means you don't have to do something. It actually means that everybody fits into what they do best. If the inventor does something, I think of ideas best. I don't do marketing. I don't do distribution channel stuff. I don't want to. I don't want to sit in a boardroom. But if I think of an idea and somebody, air quotes, steals it, in other words, they take it and they sell it and they pay me 50-50 on that shit, how fucking great is that? And with blockchain technology now, don't let me get into that, it seems like it'd be pretty easy to do that. You can have basically DNA on anything. You can see its origin point. And so anybody can just check compulsory licensing. Oh, you get to use it, but the money that comes in, we have the technology to do all the accounting now. It's not that big of a deal. You're always going to have bad actors. You're always going to have people not paying what they should pay. So you track them down, and if they still don't do it, then you shoot them in the back of the head for not being a good member of society. See? That's why you don't want me in charge. Or maybe you do. Are you getting what I'm saying here? I think this makes perfect sense. You can't steal something that doesn't weigh anything. And you shouldn't be able to stop me from using information that I have in my brain. You know? I remember when Lars from Metallica was suing everybody that was downloading Metallica songs from Napster. Remember Napster? Oh, God, I remember I downloaded the world then. Nobody downloads shit now because of streaming services. They finally caught up, you know. By the way, I could have solved this problem way back then. I knew exactly how to do it. So did other people. They just didn't do it because they're slow and stupid. But, what was I saying? Oh, my argument back then was, you stole that from us. And I go, oh, did I? What did I steal? You still have it, right? Back to the shoes analogy. Do you still have your copy? No, I didn't steal it. I copied it. It wasn't stolen. Everything that you had is still there. But I could have sold it. No, I wasn't going to buy your crappy album anyway, Metallica. I never have bought one ever. I downloaded it because it was free. If it wasn't free, I wouldn't have it. Not a chance in hell I would buy your CD. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, your song is taking up space on my hard drive, which does weigh something. So I'm going to charge you for storage. Here is a storage fee. I expect you to pay it because my hard drive can only hold so much. But you're the one that put it there. Good point. How about we call it even Steven? You get the fuck out of my face, Lars. Are you still there? See, this is the good thing about the podcast, is that I don't have to take breaks, and it would be inappropriate for me to do so. I can go on rants this long with a person sitting right next to me. Imagine how they feel. Oh, can you imagine sitting in a car with me yapping like that? I mean, right now that I'm not physically in your car with you, it's okay. But if I was in your car, you would want to push me out of the car by now. But, yeah, consider that stuff. Think about it. That copyright shit is kind of dumb. Information wants to be free. I don't know who said that, but they were right. It wants to be free. It's information. If you have a good idea and somebody wants to sell that idea, great. Let them. 50-50. High five. You're a partner. If Samsung or some other company wants to create a knockoff iPhone, let's see if they can do it. And if they can, great. If people buy it, fantastic. They did a good job. Apple doesn't lose anything. In fact, they get 50% of it without doing anything else. Just R&D. Think about how much more energy would go into R&D if they didn't have to worry about distribution. Somebody else that was good at distribution did. Man, imagine if every time you thought of an idea, all you had to do is get it in front of the eyeballs of somebody who needed an idea to sell. And the contract was ready-made. You didn't have to hire lawyers. It's just, it's 50-50. That's just the way it is. High five, your idea, my manufacturing and whatever, 50-50, pie splits. Guess who gets paid the most? The inventors. They get paid more than anybody. They're the richest of all. 50%? What the fuck? How? That's a lot. Might not even be reasonable. Might not even work. But imagine, then you really got people investing in ideas. And then the ideas, boy, they start going through the roof. You know? Idea people become the richest people, and they don't have to go suck the wiener of some manufacturing facility, distribution channel. Anyway, you get the idea. So, that's what I do here. I rework the entire system of the world. in ways that will probably never happen. But they should. I just realized I have a great example of how this could work, or close to work. Back when I was really pumping out a lot of photographs in the Flickr days, because it was fun and blah, 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 it was easy, I got tons of work from that. People would license my images. Fantastic. But you know what was even better? Is when people would send me links of people using my images without having required the permission or gone through the channels to pay me and, license them. There was just one particular one that a bunch of my images ended up on this website selling wine, because I had some pictures of some people selling wine. Well, you know what I did? I didn't do what a lot of people do, which is send them a letter. You must stop, cease, and desist, blah, blah, blah. I just sent them a bill. I just sent them a bill. I wrote them a letter. I go, hey, those images look really fantastic on your wine website. I hope they help you sell some wine. Here is my bill. And I charged them the maximum amount I would charge somebody typically to make those images. In other words, if I made them, I think I was more reasonable than that. I explained, I said, well, had you hired me to make those images, the bill would have been this. But licensing those images is cheaper because I made them for myself. And so the bill is like half of that. And I sent them the bill, and you know what? They paid it. They just paid it. They didn't argue with it. They knew they were caught. I made it pretty clear that I knew what the law was. So they just paid it. No argument, no fuss, no muss. And I told them, and if you ever need any more, you know where to find them. And if you want to hire me to make something specific for your website, you also know how to contact me now. And you also know my rates. They never did hire me, but they paid it. They paid the bill. Imagine with blockchain technology, that just worked simply. With the technology now, unless they jump through a bunch of hoops to erase the blockchain from your item. I might be speaking over some of your heads, including my own right now, because I don't know that much about it. But the idea is that the accounting and the ownership of something passes along with it. It would have been in the file for that photograph, so the robots on the internet would crawl it. They'd go, oh, there's the money. This is where it was used. It was used on this page. It would even be able to calculate the size of the page, so it could do the 50-50 split on what it earned on that page. I'm not going to take 50% of that company's earnings for one image. That would be ridiculous. But 50% of the earnings of that page, or that percentage of that page, sure, 50-50. Nice. I don't even have to send out the bill. I just receive the checks. That money just siphons into my account. I didn't even have to send the bill. The bill was attached to the image. The idea, the bill is already in there. The whole accounting process is built into the blockchain. Amazing. So yeah, give it some thought, you two people who are interested in this kind of thing. You one person, 0 people. Anyway, you might think this stuff doesn't affect you, but it does. You might have heard in the periphery about how all these copyright claims are used to take down and demonetize YouTube channels here and there because some music company doesn't want any of their music, not even hummed, in a video. So they can prevent other information. Their one little sliver of a song is 1/1000% of the entire thing, but they can block the whole goddamn video because of that. That's wrong. That is copy wrong. That's not copyright. That's copy bullshit. They shouldn't be able to do that. And if they want to get paid for that little thing, great. Put the computer robots with their calculators and figure out what percentage they're owed. 50% of that percentage of what was. And if there's no money earned, then there's no money earned. You don't get paid if no money is earned. All right? You only get paid if money is earned. You only get paid for success. You don't get paid for failure. That's the way things work. When money comes in, when the nickels start flying in, One for you, one for me, one for you, one for me. Yeah, that's bullshit. Nobody should have the power to stop an entire flow of ideas because a sliver of their idea that was built on something that they didn't invent. Those songs, they weren't invented by those people. The recordings were, but hell, there's only so many chord progressions. There's so many ideas, so many different ways to express love. Sure, get paid for it, but you don't have the right to block that information, to halt, to turn off all the gears of progress because of your fucking little goddamn contribution. You can get paid for it, but that's where it ends, okay? Okay? Scooter, you got that? Anyway, I'm solving all the problems of the world over here, and you're 5 people that are listening to it. Thanks for listening.